She teased the human warrior until her mother said he's your father. Towering crystal structures reflected colors he had never seen before, and plants with glowing leaves swayed in the gentle wind. Everything about this world was unusual, yet beautiful. The human delegation had been sent as part of a peace mission. Their goal was simple: make contact, show goodwill, and learn about the alien civilization. But Ethan, a soldier by trade, knew that humans were often underestimated. Aliens thought they were weak or slow. He had learned long ago not to judge a situation until he fully understood it. "Stay calm and stay together," Ethan reminded his small team. They were nervous. The aliens' appearance was unlike anything humans had ever seen. Their skin shimmered with faint light, and their eyes were larger than a human's, almost glowing. Their voices were musical but sharp. A hovering transport came down to meet them. Its shape was like a large crystal leaf, smooth and shiny. From it stepped a group of aliens, their robes flowing and reflecting the sunlight. At the front was a tall woman with silver hair that sparkled like starlight. She radiated authority. This had to be the queen, Ethan thought. Behind her, a younger female, probably a princess, watched him closely. She had bright green eyes and a small, teasing smile. She tilted her head as if studying him, trying to guess what kind of human he was. Ethan met her gaze evenly, neither flinching nor smiling. He had learned long ago that confidence often earned respect in situations like this. "Welcome to Varen's world," the queen said in perfect English, though her accent was strange. "I am Queen Selara. You come from Earth. I hope your visit is peaceful." Ethan bowed slightly. "Yes, your majesty. We are here to learn and share knowledge. We mean no harm." The queen studied him for a moment, then she nodded. "Very well. My daughter, Princess Layla, will guide you. She will show you the city and teach you about our customs." Princess Leela's smile widened slightly. "I will enjoy showing you around," she said. Her tone had a playful lilt, almost as if she were already thinking of ways to tease him. Ethan gave a polite nod and followed the princess. He noticed how graceful she moved, almost floating over the crystal streets. He tried to keep his attention on the surroundings, but he could feel her eyes on him. It made him uneasy, not in fear but in curiosity. Humans were not used to being watched like this. They walked through the streets, and Ethan saw aliens of all shapes and sizes. Some had wings, some had multiple arms, and some seemed almost translucent. The citizens stopped to watch the humans, whispering to each other. Ethan felt their curiosity, but also sensed a kind of respect. Humans were new here, but he suspected the aliens could feel something different about him. Princess Leela stopped in front of a large crystal fountain. Water flowed upward in thin streams before falling back down. She turned to Ethan with a smile. "First lesson," she said, "do not touch the water, it is sacred. Many humans do not understand the rules and cause trouble without meaning to." Ethan nodded. "Understood." She tilted her head and said softly, "But you seem different. You do not act afraid." Her eyes sparkled with amusement. "I am careful," Ethan replied. "Careful is not the same as afraid." Her smile widened. She liked that he did not flinch under her gaze. Many others would have looked away. "We shall see," she said, almost like a challenge. As they walked, Leela asked him questions about Earth, about humans, about life. Ethan answered politely, though he kept his words simple. He noticed she had a mischievous streak. She pointed out odd things in the city and laughed softly when he reacted naturally. Once she nudged a small alien creature toward him. It made a funny noise and Ethan jumped slightly, earning a giggle from Leela. "You are easily startled," she teased. "I am alert," Ethan said calmly, trying not to smile. She laughed. It was musical, light, and teasing. "Alert, yes, alert," she said, rolling her eyes, "but a bit jumpy too." Ethan did not respond. He had learned that teasing was often a test. He watched her carefully, noticing how her eyes flickered with curiosity and amusement. Humans often teased in jest, but aliens did it differently. He could feel that she wanted to see how he would react under pressure, how steady he really was. As they continued through the streets, a group of palace guards approached. They were tall, armored, and armed with sleek weapons that glowed faintly. Ethan stepped forward politely. "Greetings, I am here in peace." The guards paused and looked at him. One whispered to another. They seemed surprised at his calm demeanor. One of them stepped closer. "He is not afraid," the guard said softly. The others nodded. Leela noticed this and smirked. "He is stronger than he looks," she whispered to herself. Ethan and the princess reached the palace gates, enormous doors carved from crystal and glowing faintly. Leela pushed one open with ease. "Welcome to your temporary home," she said. "You will stay in the guest quarters, but I hope you will enjoy your time with us. Perhaps we can play some games, or I can show you our training halls." Ethan raised an eyebrow. "Training halls?" "Yes," she said, her smile mischievous. "If you are brave, you may try. Many humans are too weak, but I have seen something different in you." Ethan felt a small spark of pride but kept his expression neutral. "We shall see," he said quietly. Inside, the palace was even more magnificent. Crystals reflected light everywhere. Floors, walls, and ceilings shimmered. Aliens moved through the halls, bowing politely to the princess as they passed. Ethan noticed the care in every detail, the way the halls were cleaned, the way the lighting changed with the time of day, and the quiet discipline of the palace staff. Leela led him to a guest room. It was large, comfortable, with a view of the city below. "Rest here," she said. "But do not get too comfortable. Tomorrow, we start your lessons. You will need to understand our world if you hope to survive here." Ethan smiled slightly to himself. Survive. He knew humans were often underestimated, but he had learned to adapt. He could survive, and he could thrive if needed. Before leaving, Leela paused at the door. "I will not make it easy for you," she said softly. "You may think you are clever, human, but I enjoy teasing. Perhaps tomorrow you will learn how clever I can be too." Ethan nodded politely. "I look forward to it." Leela's smile widened and she left the room. Ethan sat down on the edge of the bed and looked out the window. The city sparkled under the twin suns. He knew this world was strange, full of rules he did not understand, and full of people who thought humans were weak. But he also knew that humans had something aliens often underestimated: patience, creativity, and resilience. He could use these to earn respect. And he sensed one more thing. Princess Leela was curious. She enjoyed teasing, yes, but she was also watching him carefully. She wanted to see what he was capable of. Perhaps she would regret it when she learned just how far a human could go. Outside, the palace garden glowed with alien flowers, their petals shining softly in colors Ethan could barely name. He took a deep breath. The air was sweet and strange, but it smelled like opportunity. Tomorrow, the princess would begin her tests. She would push him, tease him, and perhaps laugh at his mistakes. But Ethan had been trained for the unexpected. He had survived worse than this. And in the quiet of the alien palace, he promised himself that he would show them all what humans were truly capable of. Somewhere, Princess Leela looked out from a balcony above, thinking about the human who did not flinch, who did not laugh, and who did not retreat. She could feel her curiosity growing. He was strange, yes, and serious, but that made him interesting. She smiled. Tomorrow would be fun. The night fell over the crystal city, painting everything in soft silver light. Ethan closed his eyes, ready to rest, but his mind was alert. A new world awaited him, full of challenges, strange rules, and teasing princesses. And he was ready for all of it. The next morning, the twin suns rose over the crystal city, painting the sky with gold and soft pink. Ethan Carter woke early, as always, alert and ready. Today, he would meet Princess Leela again, and he had a feeling she would not make things easy. He left his room and walked down the long, glowing halls. The palace was quiet in the morning, with only a few servants moving gracefully to prepare for the day. As he reached the main hall, he saw Leela waiting for him. She wore a flowing robe of blue crystal silk that shimmered in the sunlight. Her green eyes sparkled with mischief. "Good morning, human," she said, tilting her head. "I hope you slept well. You will need your strength today." "I did," Ethan replied calmly. "I am ready for whatever lessons you have for me." Leela smiled, but it was the kind of smile that promised trouble. "Oh, I think you are very confident. That is good. Confidence is important, but we will see if it is enough." She led him out into the palace courtyard. It was enormous, paved with crystal tiles that glowed faintly underfoot. At the center was a large arena, surrounded by hovering platforms and high walls. Aliens of all sizes moved about, watching curiously as Ethan followed the princess. "This is our training hall," Leela said. "We use it to practice agility, strength, and intelligence. Most humans fail the first test. They are not ready for our challenges." Ethan looked at the arena. It was unlike any human training ground he had ever seen. Floating platforms moved slowly above a pit that shimmered like liquid glass. Strange devices hummed in the air, and targets appeared and disappeared at random. "I see," Ethan said. "Then I will do my best." Leela clapped her hands lightly. "Very well." "First test, agility." She gestured to the moving platforms. "You must cross the pit using only the platforms. Do not fall, do not touch the ground." Most aliens completed in 3 jumps. Humans, well, they usually fail. Ethan studied the platforms carefully. They moved slowly but unpredictably. The distance between them varied, and the platforms shifted sideways occasionally. Many humans would have hesitated or made mistakes. He stepped forward, carefully placing his foot on the first platform. It held his weight. He moved to the next, keeping his balance. Leela watched closely, her green eyes narrowing slightly. The platforms moved faster, but Ethan adjusted. He used careful steps and precise timing, landing safely on each one. He reached the far side without falling once. The princess gasped. You did it," she exclaimed. "Most humans would have fallen at least 3 times," Ethan bowed slightly. "I told you I am ready." Leela laughed softly. "You are stubborn, I see." "Very well, test 2, strength." She led him to a large crystal wall embedded with glowing stones. "These stones are heavier than they look. You must lift 3 of them and place them in the correct slots. If you make a mistake, you start over." Ethan studied the stones. They were rough, heavy, and awkwardly shaped. He lifted the first one, feeling the weight in his arms. He placed it carefully in the correct slot. Then the second. Then the third. Leela tilted her head. "You are stronger than I expected. Most humans could not lift even one." Ethan shrugged. "Humans have endurance. We do what is necessary." Leela smirked. "You are confident, strong, and careful, but the final test is the hardest. Intelligence." She waved toward a strange device in the center of the arena. A holographic puzzle appeared above it, shifting constantly. "Solve the puzzle. Most aliens can do it in minutes. Humans usually cannot." Ethan examined the puzzle. Shapes moved, colors changed, and patterns shifted. It looked complicated, but he focused on the logic behind it. He noticed the patterns repeated in a way that made sense. He adjusted the pieces mentally, then moved his hands to guide them. Slowly, the puzzle solved itself under his careful movements. The device beeped and glowed bright green. Leela's jaw dropped. You solved it. How?" "Humans know this is impossible." Ethan looked at her calmly. "Nothing is impossible if you take your time and pay attention." Leela blinked. She had teased many aliens and even humans before, but no one had completed all 3 tests so perfectly. She felt a strange mix of admiration and irritation. How could one human be so capable? "Fine," she said, trying to hide her surprise. "You have passed today, but tomorrow will be harder." Ethan nodded. "I will be ready." Over the next few hours, Leela continued to test him with small challenges. She sent alien creatures at him, hoping to startle him. She gave him strange foods and asked him to identify them. She even asked him to mimic alien gestures perfectly. Ethan performed each task without complaint, calmly observing and learning as he went. Leela began to notice something unusual. Most humans would have been frustrated, angry, or scared by now, but Ethan remained patient. He adapted. He solved problems and faced challenges without panic. During a short break, Leela sat on a glowing bench watching him quietly. "Why are you so calm?" she asked softly. Ethan looked at her. "Because getting angry or scared does not help. I observe, I learn, and I act. That is how humans survive." She tilted her head, thinking. Humans were strange. Most aliens relied on strength or magic, but humans used something different: intelligence, patience, and stubbornness. She had never met anyone like him. The day passed quickly, filled with laughter, frustration, and surprise. Leela found herself enjoying the time with him, even though she would never admit it. She teased him constantly, but she also respected him more with every challenge he completed. By evening, the palace guards and staff had begun to whisper among themselves. The human warrior was not just surviving the tests, he was excelling. Some whispered in awe, others whispered in fear. Humans were supposed to be weak. They were not. Leela, however, refused to show the full extent of her admiration. She continued to tease him. When Ethan misstepped slightly on a small obstacle, she laughed loudly. "Ha, finally a mistake." Ethan smiled faintly. "A small mistake does not matter," she frowned. "You are too perfect. It is annoying," Ethan shrugged. "I do my best. That is all anyone can do." As the sun set, Leela led him back to the palace. The sky glowed with red and purple light reflecting off the crystal towers. "Tomorrow we will continue your lessons," she said. "But I warn you, it will be much more difficult. I will push you to your limits." Ethan nodded. "I will be ready. Thank you for your guidance." Leela smirked. "Guidance? Ha, I am not sure you need guidance, but I enjoy the company." Inside the palace, Ethan prepared for the night. He reflected on the day. The tests had been challenging, yes, but he had passed all of them. He had observed the aliens, learned their customs, and proved that humans were capable. And he realized something else. Princess Leela was different from anyone he had ever met. She was playful, clever, and sometimes frustratingly unpredictable. But he also sensed that beneath her teasing, she respected him. As he lay down, he thought about the days to come. The princess would continue to test him, perhaps more harshly, but he was ready. Humans could adapt, humans could survive, and humans could excel when others doubted them. Somewhere in the palace, Leela sat by her window watching him. She thought about his calm, steady demeanor, his cleverness, and his strength. She could feel her curiosity growing stronger. He was no ordinary human, and perhaps, just perhaps, teasing him would not be enough to see everything he could do. The night fell over the crystal city, painting everything in silver and gold. Ethan slept lightly, alert for anything unusual. Tomorrow the tests would continue, and he would face them as he had faced everything in his life, with courage, intelligence, and patience. And Princess Leela, though she did not know it yet, was about to learn that humans were capable of far more than she had ever imagined. The next morning, the crystal city seemed calm and peaceful. The twin suns rose slowly, casting long shadows over the towers. Ethan Carter stretched and prepared for another day with Princess Leela. She had promised more challenges today, but Ethan had a feeling that nothing could prepare him for what was coming. He left his quarters and walked through the palace halls. The air smelled faintly of the glowing flowers that lined the corridors. Leela was waiting for him in the courtyard, wearing a crimson robe that shimmered in the morning light. Her green eyes were alert, and her usual teasing smile had a sharper edge today. "Good morning, human," she said. "Today's lessons will be different. I hope you are ready." "I am ready," Ethan replied calmly as always. He noticed she did not immediately tell him what the lessons would be. That was unusual. Leela led him to the training grounds, but as they approached, a strange sound filled the air. It was low and rumbling like distant thunder, but it came from everywhere at once. Ethan stopped and listened carefully. His senses were sharp, trained from years in difficult situations. "What is that?" Leela asked, her voice tight. She did not sound playful anymore. Ethan's eyes scanned the horizon. "I am not sure, but it is not normal." Suddenly, the sky darkened, and a fleet of alien ships appeared, descending rapidly toward the city. The shapes were jagged and menacing, with dark metal that absorbed the light. They fired energy pulses at the towers, shattering crystal walls and sending sparks into the air. The palace alarm rang loudly, a high-pitched wail that echoed through the city. Aliens screamed and ran for cover. The guards rushed to their positions, but many were unprepared for the sudden attack. Chaos spread quickly. Ethan instinctively moved toward the nearest group of civilians trapped by falling debris. He lifted them gently, one by one, and carried them to a safe area. His human strength allowed him to move faster than the alien guards, and his calmness helped him make decisions quickly. Leela watched him from a distance, her eyes wide. She had teased him before, yes, but this was different. He was saving lives while everyone else panicked. Her admiration for him grew, but she struggled to understand how one human could act so fearlessly. "Princess," one of the palace guards shouted, running toward her. "We need your orders. The city is under attack." Leela's mind raced. She had trained her guards for defense, but nothing in their history prepared them for such a sudden strike. She looked at Ethan, who had just carried another group of civilians to safety. "Follow him," she said quietly. "He knows what to do." Ethan noticed her gesture and nodded. He moved toward the palace gates, where more citizens were trapped. He directed guards to form lines and protect the injured. Using simple hand signals, he organized the defense, combining human tactics with the alien technology around him. The attackers advanced, firing energy weapons that shattered walls and threw guards off balance. Ethan grabbed a fallen alien weapon, examining it quickly. Its design was strange, but he figured out the basic mechanism. He fired it carefully, hitting the attacking drones with precision. The aliens were surprised. Their superior numbers did not matter as much against someone who could think quickly, act decisively, and fight with skill. Ethan moved like water, flowing between threats and taking action with efficiency. Meanwhile, Leela found herself beside him, unsure whether to help or just watch. She noticed the way he coordinated the guards, the way he protected civilians, and the way he used his strength and intelligence together. For the first time, she saw him as more than a guest. He was a hero, human, she said quietly, almost to herself. "You are remarkable." Ethan glanced at her briefly, then returned to the battle. "Stay close," he said calmly. "Do not interfere with the injured. Help them if you can, but avoid danger." The Queen Mother, Selara, appeared on a high balcony overlooking the city. Her eyes widened as she watched Ethan. "He is extraordinary," she murmured. "Not just a human, he is something special." The battle raged on. Drones crashed into buildings, and alien attackers moved with precision. But Ethan's presence changed everything. He directed guards to flank the enemy, used cover effectively, and even improvised traps using debris and alien technology. The attackers began to retreat, surprised by the unexpected resistance. At one point, a large alien drone crashed near Leela. She froze for a moment, but Ethan was there instantly. He lifted the drone just enough to pull her out of harm's way. She stumbled slightly and looked up at him. "Thank you," she said, her voice shaky. She had never felt so small and yet so safe in her life. "You need to be careful," Ethan said simply. "This battle is not over." She nodded, her pride mixed with a strange admiration. She had spent her life learning to command and test warriors, but she had never seen anyone like Ethan. His courage, calmness, and quick thinking were beyond what even the strongest aliens could manage. The palace was badly damaged, but the city remained intact. Civilians and guards were safe, thanks to Ethan's actions. The attackers finally retreated, perhaps shocked at the resistance they had faced. Silence fell over the city, broken only by distant alarms and the occasional crash of falling debris. Leela ran to Ethan, her green eyes wide. You saved everyone," she exclaimed. How did you do that?" Ethan shrugged lightly, tired but steady. I did what needed to be done. That is what humans do." Leela shook her head. "Humans, I never understood humans. But you are different. You are incredible." Ethan glanced around at the damage. "We need to help the injured and repair what we can. The city is not safe yet." Leela followed him as he moved through the streets, helping civilians, directing guards, and organizing teams to clear debris. She noticed the way people listened to him, followed his directions, and trusted him instantly. This human had earned their respect in hours, something that would take most aliens years. By the afternoon, the battle was over. The attackers had retreated into space, and the city began to recover. Queen Selara walked through the streets, observing the aftermath. She approached Ethan and Leela. "You have done something remarkable," she said, her voice firm but calm. "Not just bravery, strategy, leadership, and protection of life. Humans, I did not expect this from your kind." Ethan bowed slightly. "I did what I had to do, Your Majesty." "That is all." Selara studied him for a long moment, then nodded. "You have earned our respect, not just as a warrior but as someone worthy of trust. Remember this, Princess Leela. This human is no ordinary visitor. He is extraordinary." Leela looked at her mother, then at Ethan. Her mind was racing. All her teasing, all her games, all the ways she had tried to provoke him, suddenly they seemed small. He had shown strength, intelligence, and courage in ways that no teasing could ever reveal. I understand, Mother," she said softly. She looked at Ethan with new eyes, a mixture of admiration and awe. Ethan, meanwhile, remained humble. He had no desire for praise. He did what needed to be done because it was right. But he noticed something change in Leela. Her usual playful teasing had faded, replaced by respect, and perhaps something more subtle, something he could not yet name. As the sun set, the crystal city began to glow with soft light, reflecting off the damaged towers and streets. Ethan stood with Leela and the Queen Mother on a balcony, watching the city recover. Guards and citizens worked together, guided by the human who had shown them how to act in a crisis. "You are remarkable," Leela said quietly, almost to herself. "I never imagined a human could be like this." Ethan smiled faintly. "Humans are capable of more than most realize. We survive, we adapt, we protect those who cannot protect themselves." Leela nodded, feeling a strange warmth in her chest. She had teased him for days, thinking it was fun, thinking it was a game, but today had changed everything. He was no longer just a guest, no longer just a human warrior. He was something more, a hero, a protector, and someone she could trust with lives, including hers. The night fell over the city. Crystals reflected the starlight, casting soft patterns on the streets. Leela watched Ethan move through the courtyard, directing repairs and helping the injured. She felt something shift inside her. He was still calm, still steady, but now he carried a weight that was heavier than before. The weight of responsibility, the weight of courage, and the weight of saving an entire city. She realized with a start that she had underestimated him from the very beginning. He was no ordinary human. He was extraordinary in every way that mattered, and somewhere deep inside, she knew that this was only the beginning. Ethan Carter had proven that humans could rise to challenges no alien could imagine, and he had done it with patience, intelligence, and courage. The princess smiled softly. Tomorrow, the challenges would continue. But for the first time, she wondered if teasing him would ever be enough. Perhaps humans, and this human in particular, were capable of far more than she could ever imagine. The Crystal City was quiet in the morning, though the damage from the attack the day before was still visible. Towers were cracked, streets were littered with debris, and the soft glow of the city seemed dimmer. Citizens and palace guards moved carefully, repairing what they could and tending to the injured. Ethan Carter walked among them, calm and focused, helping wherever he could. His presence gave people confidence. Princess Leela watched him from a balcony above. She had spent the night thinking about what had happened. He had saved countless lives, protected her, and led the defense of the city. She had teased him for fun before, but now she saw something deeper, something about him she could not ignore. Her mother, Queen Selara, appeared beside her, her expression serious. "He is extraordinary," Selara said. "You have seen it for yourself, but there is more, Leela. Something you must know." Leela turned to her mother, curious and uneasy. "What is it, mother?" Selara led her down a quiet corridor into a private chamber. "You have wondered why he is so capable, why he seems different from any human or alien you have ever met," Selara said softly. "The truth is, he is not just a visitor. He has a connection to you deeper than you know." Leela frowned. "A connection? What do you mean?" Selara gestured for her to sit. "Years ago, Earth sent a special mission to our planet. One of their leaders, a human scientist, came here secretly. He helped us in ways we could never have imagined. He also left behind something precious." Leela's green eyes widened. "What do you mean, something precious?" Selara took a deep breath. "Ethan Carter is that gift. He is your father." For a moment Leela could not speak. Her mind swirled. Father. The human who had teased her, laughed with her, and now saved her city, her father. It seemed impossible. She stared at Ethan, who had just entered the courtyard to help a group of injured civilians, unaware of the conversation happening above. "Mother, are you certain?" Leela asked, her voice trembling. Selara nodded. "Yes, it was a secret even to you. The humans believed it was necessary for the future. He was sent here to protect you and our world, and now he is here." Leela's heart pounded. Memories of the last few days flashed through her mind. His calmness under pressure, his intelligence, his strength, his courage during the attack. She had teased him, thinking it was harmless fun, but now everything made sense. He was more than extraordinary. He was family. She ran to the balcony and looked down. Ethan was helping an injured alien child, lifting her gently and placing her on a safe mat. The child clung to him without fear. Leela realized that this human had always been more than he seemed. Ethan straightened and looked up, sensing her gaze. Their eyes met, and Leela felt a strange mix of emotions: respect, admiration, confusion, and something warm she could not name. She took a deep breath and called to him. "Ethan." He turned and walked toward her, his calm expression never faltering. "Princess?" Mother says you are my father," she stammered, struggling to find the words. Ethan's eyes softened. He looked at her with a gentle seriousness. "Yes, Leela, it is true. I did not tell you before because I wanted to protect you and wait for the right time." Leela's mind raced. She remembered teasing him, laughing at his reactions, and challenging him to games and tests. Everything seemed different now. She realized that her teasing had been directed at her father all along, and she felt a strange mix of guilt and awe. "You saved the city," she whispered. "You saved everyone, even me." Ethan nodded. "I did what I had to do. I would do the same for you always. I am your father. That means protecting you, teaching you, and guiding you." Tears welled in Leela's eyes. She had always thought of him as a strong and mysterious human, someone different from the aliens she knew. But now she understood. He had always been part of her life, even if she had not known it. "Father," she said softly. The word felt strange on her tongue, but also right. She took a step closer, unsure whether to hug him or stand back. Ethan smiled faintly. "You can call me that. It is okay." She stepped forward, and for a brief moment she allowed herself to feel the bond that had been hidden all these years. He was steady, calm, and strong. She had laughed at him before, but now she felt admiration and warmth she had never known. Queen Selara approached, her eyes softening. "It is time, Leela, to accept him. He is here not just as a warrior or a guest, but as your father. Humans are different, yes, but he carries their strength and their heart." Leela looked back at Ethan. I understand. I never expected this." Ethan knelt slightly to be closer to her level. I know it is surprising, but we have time to understand each other. I am here now. That is what matters. Over the next hours, they walked through the palace gardens. Leela asked questions about Earth, about humans, and about his life. Ethan answered simply, sharing stories of his home planet, his training, and his experiences. He spoke with patience and care, teaching her about humans in ways she could understand. As they walked, Leela noticed something remarkable. Even though he had never been a part of her daily life, he knew how to guide her. He gave advice, showed her small tricks for handling difficult situations, and explained things with clarity. She realized that humans had a strength she had never truly appreciated. They were resilient, clever, and capable of incredible things. "Father," she said after a moment of silence, "all those days I teased you I didn't know. I didn't understand. I feel guilty in a way." Ethan smiled softly. "There is no need to feel guilty. You were only learning about me just as I was learning about you. We can start fresh now that you know the truth." Leela nodded. She felt a weight lift from her shoulders. She realized that teasing had been her way of understanding him, of testing him, even if she did not realize it at the time. Now she could see him for who he truly was, strong, brave, intelligent, and her father. That evening, the palace held a small ceremony. The queen officially acknowledged Ethan as Leela's father, and the staff and guards bowed in respect. Leela stood beside him, proud and amazed. She saw the admiration in the eyes of everyone around her. Humans were often underestimated, but here was one who had changed everything. Ethan spoke to the gathering simply. "I am honored to be here, to protect this city and my daughter. Humans are capable of many things, but the most important is to do what is right. That is what I will continue to do." The assembly murmured with approval. Aliens who had doubted humans before now saw them in a new light. They saw courage, intelligence, and honor in someone who was not one of their own. After the ceremony, Leela and Ethan walked together through the repaired gardens. The air smelled sweet, and the city shimmered softly under the twin moons rising in the sky. "I never imagined," Leela said quietly, "that a human could be so remarkable." Ethan looked at her with a gentle smile. "You will see, Leela. Humans are stronger than most believe. And I am glad you see it now." She smiled, feeling a deep connection. She had teased him, tested him, and laughed at him before, but now she understood the truth. He was steady, strong, and kind. He was her father. For the first time, Leela felt a sense of peace. She knew that with Ethan by her side, she could face any challenge, learn anything, and grow stronger. Humans were not weak. They were capable of incredible things. And her father had proven it, not just in words, but in deeds, courage, and heart. As the night fell, casting soft light across the crystal city, Leela looked at Ethan and whispered, "I am glad you are my father." Ethan nodded. "And I am proud to be yours, Leela, always." The bond between them, once hidden, now began to grow. Teasing and games could wait. For now, there was understanding, trust, and the start of a new relationship. A human had come to this alien world and shown that bravery, intelligence, and heart could surpass any expectation. And Princess Leela, who had once laughed at him, now saw him in a way she never would have imagined. He was her father, her hero, and a living proof of what humans could achieve. The days after the revelation passed quietly at first. Ethan Carter had been officially acknowledged as Princess Leela's father, and the palace began to adjust to this new reality. The citizens and guards had begun to see him not just as a human warrior, but as someone to respect and trust. Leela, meanwhile, spent time with him, learning about humans, about courage, and about how to face life with intelligence and strength. Even though their bond had been hidden for years, it was growing quickly. Ethan taught her how to think calmly under pressure, how to make decisions quickly, and how to observe and act. Leela listened intently, absorbing every lesson. She no longer teased him carelessly. Now every question she asked and every challenge she gave was meant to learn, to understand, and to grow stronger. The city, however, was not yet fully safe. The attackers from before had retreated, but intelligence reports suggested they would return. Ethan, with his human foresight, suggested fortifying the city and training the guards in new strategies. "Father," Leela said one morning, "do you really think they will come back?" Ethan studied the horizon. "They may, and if they do, we must be ready. Humans do not rely on strength alone. We plan, adapt, and protect what matters. This city, your people, they matter. We will defend them." Leela nodded, determination in her eyes. She now saw herself as a student, learning not just from the palace lessons, but from the human who had changed her life. The next few days were filled with preparation. Ethan helped train the palace guards, teaching them human strategies that combined their advanced alien technology with practical tactics. They learned to act as a team, to anticipate enemy movements, and to use their environment creatively. Even the elite warriors of the palace began to see that humans had skills beyond raw strength. Meanwhile, Leela practiced alongside him. She learned quickly, her natural agility and intelligence allowing her to understand his teachings faster than many of the guards. She discovered that humans were not only brave but adaptable, capable of thinking in ways that surprised even the most advanced aliens. One evening, as the twin suns set and the city glowed softly, Ethan and Leela stood on a balcony overlooking the courtyard. "Father," she said, "I never imagined humans could do all these things. You are amazing," Ethan smiled. "Humans are capable of more than most people realize, but it is not just me. It is the will to survive, the desire to protect, and the courage to act that makes the difference." Leela nodded. "I understand now, and I want to learn. I want to be like you in a way." Ethan looked at her with pride. "You already have the strength, you just need guidance. And that is why I am here." The calm, however, did not last long. Reports arrived that a larger fleet of attackers was heading back to the city. They were stronger, faster, and better prepared than before. Panic spread among the citizens and even some of the guards. Ethan took charge. "Listen carefully. We have faced this before and we survived. Now we will be ready. Follow my instructions, trust each other, and stay calm. Humans are not the only ones who can think, but thinking is our greatest weapon." He organized the defense meticulously. Civilians were moved to safe areas, guard squads were positioned strategically, and traps were prepared. Leela stood beside him, watching closely, absorbing every detail. She realized that humans were not reckless fighters. They planned, adapted, and protected those who could not defend themselves. When the attackers arrived, they expected an easy victory. But Ethan was ready. Using a combination of human tactics and alien technology, he directed the defense with precision. Guards moved quickly under his guidance, using traps, barriers, and weapons in ways they had never tried before. Leela joined the battle, using the skills Ethan had taught her. She moved with confidence, protecting civilians and assisting guards. For the first time, she felt the thrill of understanding strategy, of seeing the enemy's moves and knowing how to counter them. The battle was fierce. The attackers were strong and relentless, but Ethan's leadership made the difference. He moved calmly among the defenders, inspiring them with his courage and skill. He lifted heavy debris to protect the injured, fired alien weapons with precision, and coordinated defenses with clarity. At one point, a massive attacker drone broke through the outer defenses and headed straight for Leela. She froze for a moment, but Ethan was there instantly. He tackled the drone, lifting it just enough to push Leela out of harm's way. The drone exploded nearby, but both were unharmed. "You are brave," Leela said, her voice shaking. I want to be like you," Ethan smiled faintly. "You are already brave. Courage is not about never being afraid. It is about acting despite fear." The battle continued for hours. Citizens and guards fought with determination, inspired by the human warrior leading them. Slowly, the attackers began to retreat, their numbers dwindling as the defenders pressed forward. By nightfall, the city was safe again. The attackers had been driven off and the citizens celebrated quietly, grateful for their protection. Ethan stood with Leela and Queen Selara, surveying the aftermath. "You have done it again," Selara said softly. "Not just survival, but triumph. You have proven that humans are capable of greatness." Ethan shook his head. "It was not just me, it was all of us. Humans and aliens working together, that is how we succeed." Leela looked at him with admiration. "Father, you are incredible. I am proud to have you as my father." Ethan placed a hand gently on her shoulder. "And I am proud to have you as my daughter. Together, we can face anything." Over the next days, the city healed. Walls were repaired, streets cleaned, and the injured cared for. Ethan continued to train guards and teach Leela, strengthening the bond between humans and aliens. The palace staff whispered among themselves about the remarkable human who had changed their world. Leela often walked with Ethan through the palace gardens, asking questions and learning. She understood now that humans were not just strong or clever. They were capable of love, protection, and courage in ways that could inspire entire civilizations. One evening, as the twin moons rose over the crystal towers, Leela turned to Ethan. "Father, I have learned so much from you. Not just strength or skill, but how to think, how to act, how to care for others." Ethan smiled. "That is what humans do. We protect, we adapt, and we survive. You have all these qualities too. You are already remarkable." Leela blushed slightly, but her eyes were full of pride. She realized that teasing him had been childish, but learning from him was powerful. She felt a new respect, a new admiration, and a deep love that only family could bring. The Queen Mother watched them from a distance, smiling. She had seen her daughter grow, and she had seen the humans prove their worth. Ethan had shown that strength was not just muscle, that courage was not just instinct, and that humans could rise to challenges no alien could imagine. In the days that followed, life in the Crystal City returned to normal. Leela continued her lessons with Ethan, practicing combat, strategy, and human ways of thinking. The citizens and guards respected and trusted him more than ever. Ethan, meanwhile, found a place in the palace not just as a warrior or teacher, but as a father. He and Leela shared quiet moments, talking about Earth, the stars, and the lives they would build together. She asked questions about humans, and he answered patiently, teaching her lessons that would stay with her forever. One afternoon, as they walked along the balcony overlooking the city, Leela looked at Ethan and said, "I understand now why you survived, why you succeeded, and why humans can achieve so much. You are everything I never expected." Ethan chuckled softly. "Humans are full of surprises, but the important thing is to use our abilities for what matters, protecting those we care about and doing what is right." Leela nodded, feeling the truth in his words. She realized that humans, even in a world far from their own, could make a difference that no alien could ignore. They were resilient, brave, and capable of greatness. As the twin moons rose, casting silver light across the crystal towers, Ethan and Leela stood together, looking at the city they had protected and helped rebuild. She felt a sense of pride, love, and understanding she had never known before. He was her father, a hero and a teacher. He had shown the strength of humanity in every way, and in that moment, Leela knew that no challenge could ever break them. Together, they were stronger than any enemy, smarter than any threat, and capable of facing the future with courage and heart. Humans had proven themselves again, not just to the aliens, but to everyone who had witnessed their strength. Ethan placed a hand on her shoulder and said, "Leela, remember this. Humans survive, humans protect, and humans achieve. And now you and I will face everything together." Leela smiled, her heart full. "Yes, Father, together." The crystal city glowed softly in the moonlight. The battle was over. The lessons were learned. The bond between human and alien, father and daughter, was stronger than ever. Humanity had proven itself once again, not just in strength, but in courage, intelligence, and heart. And so, the human warrior who had arrived as a guest, teased by a curious princess, had become something far more important: a father, a hero, and a living symbol of what humans could achieve in a universe that often underestimated them.